The gift I was given this morning is one of generosity and patience, and understanding that your version is not always the version that is best for you. And trying to find that balance between working for what you want, putting in the effort is important, and also allowing yourself to be guided what is already being shown to you. The culture that we live in is one of hustle and striving. And effort is important, but maybe striving is not. But it's a really fine line. It's a very fine line. And I find myself this morning erring on the side of working in a steady way towards that end without pushing too hard. And it's a knife's edge, because what happens is if you push too hard, you get conquered by your ego driven schedule, and you're going to miss what's on the way for you or what's in your peripheral vision. It's hard to stay in 360 vision all the time. But I'm urging you right now, at this time, in this moment, to try to keep the largest view possible. Because that, on the edges of that view, is when the things are going to start to crystallize for you. It's kind of like working from the outside in. I always inhabited my body, but I had abandoned it for a long time. I allowed it to come out in service and sex, but I didn't really, beyond that, and maybe dancing, I didn't really have like a deep daily connection with my body. And it was only in the aftermath of turmoil and divorce that, and it was driven, so my point is that sometimes things work from the outside in. So my initial drive to start what turned out to be such a cathartic and somewhat a little bit abusive use of exercise, um, that also provided me to get to grind, far deeply, more deeply than I was into my body already, was vanity. Right? So I'm newly single after 25 years. What the fuck am I going to do? I have no idea what I'm doing. And I better look good, right? So you automatically in your head go like, "Oh, revenge body," right? Because my identity was completely built around wife. So I had to start from fucking scratch. And so I at first my physical activity was completely for vanity's sake. And as I started to really understand the joy of pushing your body to the edge, which I had never done before, I found it so cathartic. I found it cathartic for grief. I found it cathartic for emotions that are unable to be explained, and it started to help me. I didn't even know this at the time to identify that, but it did start to help me get unstuck and move a little bit of energy. The real process of it was years later, but at least I wasn't completely stagnant. That really helped. And so my process sometimes is, let's take the periphery, let's take the personal experience, let's take the physical, what I notice physically, and now let's start to go deeper and deeper and deeper. And so I'm suggesting that it's okay to keep yourself a little bit on the periphery in the beginning, because it's going to give you the larger view, and it's going to have you kind of stay open to those things that you might just walk right past, especially if you've got a tunnel vision. Because tunnel vision, not accepting any other way to get it done, just check that to make sure that your ego is not in charge of that agenda. Just make sure. Not that you shouldn't have tasks, not that things shouldn't be built in an orderly fashion, not that there shouldn't be structure, a frame, and a container. Just make sure whose voice is really in charge. Is there a voice larger than you in that picture, or is it only your own voice? So today I'm going to err on the side of listening, of being guided, of trying to take the largest view possible, because what I discovered with the mountain is anything can be reverse engineered. But you have to know what the anything is. And what's your vision of that? And the way to get glimpses of it is to just stay as open as you can. And don't get too checklist oriented. So that is the idea that I leave you to ponder today. Where are you in that balance? Are you totally off and like floating from one thing to the other and you never get grounded and the ideas never come to the world? Or are you someone that has like A, B, C, D? They must be done in that order. There is no room for wiggle room. They must be done in this manner, and that's it. Because that's actually rigidity, right? The lack of rigidity is rigidity, and the lack of flexibility, you know what I mean? So like you're actually equally as chaotic in those extreme states. I'm asking you to soften the edges of all of those things. Um, and let yourself wonder a little. And that is where I am today. And I offer you just to think about where you are in that yourself. And I will see you tomorrow.